Hey guys, it's Noelle. If you've been following my bullet journaling series, you know that I can be a bit extra when it comes to my layouts and spreads. I like a lot of doodles and colors and themes, but some people just aren't into all the extra frills, and that's totally okay. That's why I'm here to show you some awesome ideas for some minimalist spreads that only require a pen and a notebook. That's all bullet journaling is after all. But before I get into it, definitely subscribe to 17's YouTube channel so that you don't miss out on any of my future bullet journaling tips and tricks. The first spread that I'm going to show you is a future log. The point of the future log is to have a place to write down events that pop up that are coming in the distant future that you don't have space to write down in your weekly or dailies. So here's what I did. I wrote future log in all caps in the top left corner and just kind of bared down a little more on the downstrokes to make the title look a little cool. And then I drew a line all the way across the page. Then I separated the spread into 6 columns. Since the Leuchtturm has 26 columns, it can get complicated to separate the columns into even numbers. So what I did was make the columns on the left and right 9 spaces wide and the one in the middle 8. But depending on the journal you're in, you might have to fiddle with that a little bit. Just make sure you count your columns first and then separate your columns accordingly. Then I numbered the upcoming months at the top. For me, that was May through October, and I did it in numbers. So 05, 06, 07, all the way to 10. For you, do whatever 6 months are coming up next. Then I numbered the days of the month down the left side of each column, making sure to check which month has 30 days and which has 31. I always struggle with that, but make sure. I have my cell phone right next to me to check. After that, I drew a line next to the days of the month. Then I filled the future log in with important dates like my friends' birthdays and some holidays. The next spread that I'm going to show you is a calendar overview of your month. To create a calendar, what I did was start by drawing out the horizontal lines that represent the weeks. I like to start from the bottom and worry about the title later because then you know exactly how much space you have to make your title. So what I did was draw 6 lines, 6 rows apart. I decided that I don't want lines separating the columns, so taking note that I want Monday through Friday to be 8 spaces wide and Saturday and Sunday to be 5 spaces wide, I wrote the days of the week across the top of the calendar. Now that I know how much space that I have at the top of the page, I went back and wrote out my title, which is just simply May 2018 in some faux calligraphy. Then I went back and numbered the days of the month in the top right corner of each day. So that's the gist of the entire spread, but if you minimalists want to get a little crazy, you could decide to add a pop of color by using a single highlighter throughout your spread. I decided to highlight the days of the week, the numbers of the month, and I scribbled behind the title, which I think looks really cute. Depending on how you bullet journal, you might like to have a gratitude log. As you know, I like to do my gratitude logs and memories by having a doodle page, but you don't have to go all out like that. So for the purposes of this video, all I did was write gratitude log across the top of the page and put a box around it with a box under it as a shadow kind of. And then I drew a line down the center of the page. Then I wrote the days of the month, skipping 1 line in between each day. Then I used my purple highlighter again to highlight the days of the month. And then you're done. Now all you have to do is go in and fill in each day with what you're grateful for. I'm sure you're grateful for this minimalist spread, so you can just add that right to the top of your list. The next spread is a monthly expenses spread. I usually go all out and separate the page into 2 columns, draw boxes around it and color them and whatnot, but you can cut your time in half by keeping it minimal. So here's what I did. I wrote out May expenses across the top of the page. I drew a line horizontally across the page. Then I drew 4 vertical lines down the length of the page to create 5 columns. Then I filled in the titles of each column from left to right. Then you fill out the page with your expenses. The next spread is taking us all the way back to the very first how to create your own bullet journal, because you don't get any more bare bones than a plain old monthly. All you have to do is write the month at the top of the page. So I wrote May 2018 and put 2 lines next to each side to give it a little pop. Next, you write the numbers of the month down the left side of the page. Next to that, you write the days of the month, and then you just make a line next to it. Then, just to tie in my pop of color again, I highlighted the days of the month with my purple highlighter and the lines next to my title. Ta-da! And that's it. Next is the monthly tracker, which you are completely familiar with if you've watched all my monthly setups. All you have to do is write May tracker at the top as your title, and I added 2 lines next to it like I did in my monthly. Then you write the days of the month starting from the right side of the page from 31 down to 1. Under that, you list the days of the month, and then you can create a graph by drawing a horizontal line under the days of the month, and then a vertical line down the left side of your page. Then you just fill it in with the habits you want to track. I wrote waking up by 6 a.m., making breakfast, taking my vitamins, and drinking 8 glasses of water throughout the day. When I complete a habit, I decided that I would draw horizontal lines through the box and then switch it for the next day, so that you kind of get a zigzag pattern going throughout the month. Then I just added a pop of color by highlighting the days of the week. Now we come to a cool weekly spread. First, I drew 1 horizontal line about 1/4 of the way down the page, all the way across the length of the page. Then about 6 rows below that, I drew another line. The right column is going to represent the weekend, so I drew a vertical line down the right side of the page. Then I split the column into 2 sections. Then I separated the rest of the spread into 5 columns using vertical lines. Now that I know how much space I have at the top of the page, I wrote May 2nd through 8th because that's what the spread is going to cover. After that, I wrote the days of the week across the top. The box directly under the days of the week is to track any habits that you want to track and to mark down the events that are happening on that particular day. I'm going to track how many glasses of water I drank for each day, so I drew a little water droplet and then drew 7 circles next to it to represent each glass that I could potentially drink. So the bottom box is going to be to track your to-do list and tasks that you have to get done in the day. So I titled each of those boxes to do. So then I grabbed my highlighter and added my pop of color by highlighting the days of the week and the to-do list titles. I realized that I had some space at the bottom of the spread, so I created a section for notes. At this point, you can just fill out your weekly with what you have to do in the week. For the water tracker, you can either just X out each circle after you drink a cup of water, or you can fill it in with your pop of color. It's your choice. Lastly, if you're a person who likes to work on your daily on the day instead of setting everything up ahead of time, here's a minimal spread that might work for you. To conserve some of your paper, split your page in half with a horizontal line. After that, I drew a flag in the top left corner to represent the day of the week. Next to the flag, I wrote events, and under that, I filled in whatever events I have for the day. I wrote at 8 p.m. I have dance. Next, I wrote the numbers of the hours in the day that I'm busiest, so I wrote 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. Then I drew a vertical line next to it. Now you can use this timeline to lay out your ideal day. All you have to do is draw a bullet point when you want to get something done next to the time you want to get it done, and then write what you want to get done. So I ideally want to wake up at 6 a.m., so I wrote a bullet point next to it and wrote wake up. And then you just do that throughout the day. Then under that, I created a section for tasks by running out tasks and underlining it. Then I filled it in with what I need to do that day, which is start reading Great Gatsby and get my oil changed. Last but not least, I labeled my timeline with my day and underlined it. And that's it. All you have to do is repeat this process every day for your new dailies. That's it. I hope this video helps you figure out some minimalist Bujo spreads that work for you. Now definitely subscribe to 17's YouTube channel so that you don't miss out on any of my future videos just like this one. Bye!